This is the magicwordpodcast.com.
We are in the second full day of Abbott's 85th annual get-together, and we were here in Colon, Michigan, actually over in the Grand Magic Theater. We had a conversation with a few people here from the other night, and we just had a presentation then by the chairman of the board and some other people who are involved with the American Museum of Magic in Marshall, Michigan. Before we get into that, I wanted to introduce you again to someone whose voice you had heard in detail in a couple of episodes a while back, and we've gotten a lot of really great feedback, and I thought it'd be great to hear from him again. Here he is, Terry Evanswood. Hello, Terry. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning to everybody.
It was a lot of fun, and it was the episode that I did. It was a feast for the ears, for people to actually, the way you demonstrated this or described that between the two of us, there were so many people saying, that I have been on that tour, and I could just kind of see in my mind the way you were talking about it. But your museum is phenomenal.
I appreciate that very much. We sure have a good time, especially with, all the guests that come to visit. And you can't imagine the comments that I've heard from the magic community because of your efforts with this program.
Wow, well, that's flattering. Thank you very much. I'm glad to hear that people are listening and appreciating that. But if they have people been reaching out and saying, hey, I'd like to come and visit, and next time I come out, I guess?
And we've had some people come to visit because of your cast.
Very cool. Now, again, you are just completing this year, will be the 25th year, or 27th? 7th year, that's right, of performing. And your season goes through when?
We'll be going through New Year's Eve this year and then reopening in March.
And then going back to the museum then for just a minute, you typically have special exhibits or special showings during Halloween and Christmas. Is that right?
Correct. In October, the entire month, every weekend in October is a public haunted house. And it's just been an amazing venture. But I'll tell you what, the scariest part of the Haunted House project was the parking. Because, this is a private residence, and the neighbors around me have opened up their yards and the side streets. It's really become a popular event. Now, this is more of a local audience. The tourist in Pigeon Forge, for the most part, would not hear about it unless they're catching it on the internet. And then the month of December is our Victorian Christmas Walk, which has been a wonderful event and becoming a local tradition for families. After the gift exchange or breakfast, there's really nothing for people to do outside. A lot of people go to the movie theaters, but as a tradition to come to Magic Mansion, hot wassail, cookies, live carolers, Santa Claus makes magical appearances for the kids, 26 Christmas trees, the outside decorations are absurd, the amount of the outside decorations. We have to start really early, and a lot of extension cords and generators to keep this running without blowing the electric in the house.
What's the weather like at that time of the year? Do you have snow and ice, or sometimes have to cancel because of weather?
Occasionally we have a snow. During the year of COVID, we had a snowstorm, and it was wonderful because everyone was locked in their homes anyway, and it was just gorgeous. So such a blessing, Christmas morning, to see that. But typically the weather is very, I would call mild. Coming from Chicago area, for sure I would say mild. Very rarely ice, and just a wonderful place to visit. Beautiful, the mountains in the wintertime, stunning.
Do you dress up like a Victorian outfit during Christmas time, and also perhaps in some sort of a monstrous outfit during Halloween?
Absolutely, I wouldn't miss that.
I can imagine.
Both seasons is a Victorian look. One a little like the master of the house kind of look, very gaunt and white makeup and. Yeah.
That sounds like it'd be just a lot of fun. Are the tours year-round also, or is it just during your operating season when you normally are doing your shows?
The tours are year-round. I take about a week off in January to spend time back home in my hometown, St. Charles, Illinois. But the rest of the time we're open for tours. And something that I did new this last year instead of just having the scheduled 7 o'clock on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays, which are my show days, and I should mention, a lot of people think that was crazy to do the show and then follow with a house tour, but I'm already up, my energy level is up,
Sure.
Yeah, it just makes more sense. And also marketing to the people who are just at the show. We found that wasn't really successful. The majority of our audience for the house tours are scheduling another day outside the show date, or even the following year, because most people coming to Pigeon Forge now with the internet activity, they know exactly what they're doing, and if they're only hearing about the house tour through the show that day, it's not really been what I thought. We get some, but not to the extent that I would have assumed.
And you can only max out at about how many? 20 people?
Yeah, about 20 people. 17 is ideal. We've had groups of 35 people, and at that point we have different docents who will take certain rooms, so I can do the main rooms that are the most information that only I would know, but other people to handle rooms like the Titanic room and the Willy Wonka room and what have you.
Barnum, right.
The Barnum room.
Well, it's great to see you here, and I know this is a convention you often attend and were brought up as a child, used to come over to Abbott's and everything. Yeah. It's special to you, isn't it?
I think since 1985, my father and I would attend. Very happy to have my father joining me today. There's been some family issues with my mother's health, and this is an opportunity for him to take a break from that and come spend just like the good old days.
Yeah. Well, that's wonderful. I'm glad to see you here then, as always, then, Terry. And I wish you continued good luck with not only the show, but everything else you're doing in life. I mean, you just keep going. You're just like a shark. You're moving all the time and advancing in the art of magic. So thank you for all that you do to keep magic alive.
Thank you for having me today. It's always a pleasure to visit with you. I think we're a good team for getting information out and together. So thanks again.
You bet. So for the Magic Word Podcast, that was Terry Evanswood. This is Scotty out. We just, as I said earlier when we were talking with Terry, we're here at the Grand Magic Theater in downtown Colon, and we were talking a little bit about the full presentation on the American Museum of Magic, and that was Bob Lund's original vision, and since he and Elaine have long since passed, has been the hand of the board, and I'm speaking right now with the chairman of the board. It's Ms. Jania Taylor. Hey there, Jania.
Hi, Scott.
Always great to talk with you. So it was a good presentation here today, and so tell us a little bit about, in a nutshell, what has happened or what is happening with the museum then right now and how people can visit or contribute or whatever.
Okay, well, if you want to visit, the museum is now open from Wednesday through Saturday, 11 to 4, Sunday noon to 4.
Through October?
Through the end of October. Mm-hmm. And if you want to contribute, become a member. That all helps. That all goes towards helping to keep the museum open. What else?
One of the things I know that you said that they're needing desperately is a new HVAC system and everything, and air conditioning and everything in the library, which is where the bulk of the things are being kept over there right now, and a lot of long-term plans that you got for that then as well, and there's some matching grants you have from the state of Michigan. I'm sorry, maybe I should be giving this talk instead of you.
No, you were paying attention. That's good. Well, yes, we own the old library building in town. Elaine Lund bought it like in 1998 or something like that, and she moved all of Bob's books and all of those fabulous files that he kept on everybody over there. So we always refer to it as the archives, because when people are doing research for books, they want to come there because it's a one-of-a-kind collection. All of that Ephraim is what is the one-of-a-kind collection. Correspondence between Bob and correspondence from Bob to people, just like Mickey was saying. There's a whole great file on Neil Foster from when he was running the contest in the fabulous 1977 contest that we all remember when Lance won.
To recap, yeah. Lance Burton had won. Second place went to
Hobson.
Jeff.
No, Matt King.
No, Matt King was third. Jeff Hobson was second.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And look where they went.
Right,
Yeah.
and so
there were 38 people in the contest that year. It's amazing.
I remember being in the contest, and it was 2 days of contest fun.
2 days. Wow, that's amazing.
But we would like to eventually, long-term goal is to digitize all of those letters, all of that from all those newspaper clippings, just to preserve them for one thing.
Make them available online to people worldwide.
Right, yeah. And then make it easier for research. And if people want to donate, I forgot to say this, but this is going out in the airwaves, there's also things that even non-monetary that we need. Bob has a cabinet of rare books. It needs to be in a fireproof cabinet. Right now, it is not in a fireproof cabinet. It's in a cabinet. If it were to go up in smoke, it's going to melt.
Wow.
All of the.
So you need a contractor or people who are skilled at some kinds of.
Well, yeah, not even so much that. I mean, not a contractor, not for those things. We need a fireproof cabinet donated.
I got you.
For all of those books, because it's just in a rickety library locked cabinet right now. We need all of that ephraim should be in fireproof file cabinets. We need acid-free file folders. They aren't in museum file. I mean, Bob just bought them at the local office store, and those need to be all switched over to acid-free. So we need money for that. We need money for if the collection got too big in the file box, in the file cabinet.
Right.
Like say like Copperfield, he would then move it to an apple box that he would get at the grocery store.
Yeah, like an apple crate.
Right.
Yeah.
So now
not the kind of apple we're thinking of, like with
right.
Bill
Produce apples, and
not Bill Gates.
And there are people that have full boxes of their apple boxes, and those need to be in acid-free file boxes. So there's lots of ways that people can donate. If they don't want to donate monetary, they can say, "Hey, I can buy you that." And that's
specific.
Yeah, thing. Right. And if we were to have a wish list, those are the things that are on a wish list for us.
Are there places, or is there a place where people can go and see this kind of a wish list, or do they need to contact you? Or?
Actually, that's one of the things we're going to get our new guest services guy on. We should have a wish list on the website.
Yeah, that'd be great. So people, it's kind of like a registry, a bridal registry,
right?
Where people can kind of go and tick off.
Right.
Okay, I can pay this much. Or,
right. And when I say we want a donation, say I said I needed a vacuum cleaner. I don't want Grandma's old beat-up vacuum cleaner.
Right.
Take that to the recycle. We want something shiny and new.
Right. Because it's got to last for a long time.
We don't want your. It's nice that you're thinking of us that way. That you want, but please, we don't want your secondhand stuff.
Now, this museum in particular is something unlike anywhere else in the world, because David Copperfield, of course, has this museum, but it's not open to the public. Right. And this is. Is there anything else? I know there's nothing like it in America. Why it's called American Museum of Magic? Is there anything like this anywhere else?
There's one in Paris. Okay. Supposedly, and I don't know anything about that. I've just heard.
I have. It's nice.
Yeah, that you've probably been there.
I have.
Okay. Yeah. So you can tell me. Should I interview you?
It is. I went last 21, and it was nice and completely different from what this museum is. It's down like in a cavern, so it's cool down there. It is nice. Anyhow, you are the new chairman of the board, and so you'll be on for how long is your reign?
Three. You get 2 terms of 3, so I have 4 years left.
Okay. And I know they rotate from people from time to time, and there are other people on the advisory board then as well. But anyhow, if you get a chance to come to Marshall, Michigan, which is only about 35 miles from Colon, roughly, good place to go and visit, see something that you've never seen before, memories that'll last a lifetime. And also magic to last a lifetime if you help support. Right. Yeah, just to preserve that magic history that we all love, and we don't want to see it go away, because magic has a wonderful, rich history. That's exactly right. So with the Magic Word Podcast, that was the chairman of the board. That was Jania Taylor. This is Scotty Abbott. We have now walked over to the Five-Star Pizza over here at Carl Thornton's place. We spoke with him yesterday, you might have heard. But now I'm with one of the people who is not only the MC, but also the closer for last night's rock and roll show. Here he is, my buddy, a friend of the Magic Word, and yours too, Steve Chezaday. Hey, Chez.
Hey, great to see you, buddy.
And you too. My goodness, what a great show that was last night. To see you and Michael Tricks together, you know.
Yes. We performed together for the first time for my 50th birthday a couple of years ago, and he's a great guy, and we've known each other for years, but we complement each other because he does his thing, I do my thing, but the rock and roll thing it's a lot of fun, and it just all fell into place last night.
And then had Richard Hughes, the Feathered Flowers. I think the funniest line I'm going to remember from this whole week was when you said, "Nothing says rock and roll magic like feathered flowers."
Yes, I'm a horrible person, but I couldn't help myself. It was, so it was originally going to be the stage crew show, and Richard's part of the stage crew. I am too. But it didn't go, it wasn't going to happen. So they still wanted me on the show. And then they suggested the Rock and Roll Night of Magic, and I'm like, well, I need my buddy Trix on the show. And so we had Trix and Jeffrey Jean and Richard Hughes. So it was rock and roll and some other magic,
some other magic, classic magic. It was classic. I thought the stuff that Jeff had done with the umbrellas and the scarves, and then the feather flowers was traditional old style magic and everything that kind of harkened back to kind of earlier Abbott's days and everything, as opposed to bringing that up to date with the stuff that Michael was doing just with his. Man, I got some fabulous pictures. He has such expressions on his face, and he has such fun out there as you do.
Neat, very good. Yeah, no, he's fun. A fun guy to work with, and nothing's better than sharing the stage with one of your friends, you know. So,
and you were sharing the stage with Carol, your best friend.
There you go. Well, my current girlfriend, as I like to say. But I get in trouble for that. No, she's my fiance. She's ordering some pizza. Food. Yeah.
Right
but well, we're gonna split a taco salad. They have the food here is amazing. And we only get it once a year. Well, actually twice. We were here in, I think it was April or May or something like that. We were traveling through, but we love coming here. It's just a special town, a special place. Here
there she is now. There's Carol.
There's Carol.
Again, congratulations.
Oh, thank you very much.
The other star, half of the duo act last night.
The other half of the duo.
Yeah, so what happened is months ago, they advertised that we were going to be on the show on the Abbott's website, and I was like, oh, I guess we're on the show. So but I'm here anyway. So
this is what year for you, like the 25th year of the stage crew?
I've been on the stage crew for 30 years now. I've been attending here for 40. I just came when I was a kid, But they had mentioned, hey, we want you to be the MC. And I'm like, oh, okay, sounds good. I've never done that before. So it was a first for me. But I wasn't sure if it was happening or not. And we got here, and yeah, you're the MCs. so that's why it was kind of...
I thought B.J. Mallen, since he, kicked it off, and I thought he was going to do the rest of the thing, and they said, I'm going to turn it over to Steve.
There you go. Yeah, well, so no, it's a fun surprise, and but it was, it was a lot for me to, because I had to remember a lot of things, to introduce the other acts. So it was new to me, especially when you got to stretch, if there's, they need more time backstage.
What advice would you give to people who are first-time MCs?
Oh, ask other people about advice. I actually... I asked a number of people for help.
Mark Holstein had helped a little bit.
Yeah, and David, is it Carcero? He was very helpful. Artie Kidwell. I asked around a lot. Everybody had different advice, though, too. Be their friend, do the magic, So, I mean, we wanted to keep the show tight, and I think it was the right amount of time, and I think everything went well. Got a lot of nice compliments.
Nobody
afterwards.
died.
No, see, but no, and that's,
Night anyway.
Yeah. Well, Michael uses fire and stuff, and years ago I had pyro, and but we did, I had a license and everything. I mean, that was very, very dangerous stuff, but we're not allowed to really do that here at the school. But anytime any pyro comes through, I have to approve it or not, even if it's just fire or, eating fire. Still technically it's,
Right.
Open flame on stage.
Open flame, yes. But I have a fire extinguisher handy. So.
Well, I thought what you did is, before we came on, started recording, I was telling you I thought it was very real and genuine. I didn't feel as if that it was scripted. I kind of felt like that, hey, you're along for the ride with me, and I'm going to have a good time. I hope you do, too. Kind of come with me. And it was great.
Pretty much, yes. No, it's good to hear. And if it's something different and you remember that, that's even better, you know.
I mean, it didn't suck. And I mean that in a positive I mean that in a positive way. That didn't come out very well.
No.
It didn't.
Good job.
If you were worried about it, you can quote me on that. Yeah.
Excellent. You didn't suck. And there you go. No,
It was really. I'm sorry. My face is red.
No, it's hilarious. Well, I was telling you, too. I was telling Steve, because he was, he was kind of like nervous about it. He hadn't done it before. Mm-hmm. But I was like, just talk to people like you usually talk. You always speak to people like they're your friends anyway.
He does.
And like when he performs in general.
And so the audience, you broke that fourth wall immediately. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Good. Well, then my job was acconclished.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you didn't suck.
Yes. Well, no, because
you're always afraid of,
Right, no, some say, if you want to keep the show flowing, that's very important. But the connection between me and the audience, that's most important for me. Even if we're just doing our act. Actually, last night the act was the easiest part.
Yeah.
It was everything in between.
The two of you were very comfortable, obviously.
I was like, let's get to my act. I know this.
Well, and that's why I think that all the acts complement themselves from the standpoint of, I talked about the two classic acts, but also you and Michael, because he does birds and eggs and other kinds of things. You guys do the big illusions. So, but it's still a similar style.
Actually, that's a good point. Because initially we were like, well, this is kind of a mishmash of stuff, but actually you're right. There was a good mix of very classical and very
Yep. No, so it was fun for everyone. Yeah. Little something for everybody.
Actually, that's fair. That's a good point.
Why, thank you. Yeah. I did say something good finally.
You covered yourself.
I didn't suck.
No, you recovered. That was good.
Now, did you like the bit where I had her come on stage and we talked about how we got engaged?
Yes, okay. I did. Because there again, it is you and people get to know you personally, and that's what I think is most important in the show. Is that you need to be able to not just show a pretty flower or scarf or something, because I don't care, unless that this is something that means something and you're presenting that to someone and there's an emotional hook to that. Yeah. And there was that definite emotional hook in which you and Carol have known each other, about 17 years or something?
It's been a
while. But and then you're talking about, going to Orlando and telling a story. So we were along with you emotionally, kind of, because people can relate to those stories. My point is that anything that you could do in your act or as an MC to break that fourth wall by trying to get the audience to empathize and to relate to what you've seen, or with their stories too, and you had done that because the love that you two have for each other, and your interest and commonality, I think that it just came across that everyone else could feel a similar way.
There you go. And it was time, like I said, on stage, and everybody lost their mind. I was like, what?
He says that, but I feel like it's got a weird connotation, but he means it like...
I mean it in the best of ways.
Yeah,
but
when you say my current wife, or my current
girlfriend, yes.
Yeah, that's just a joke.
Yeah. Well, I used to joke, about my wife also. We were married for 40 years. It seems like 40 minutes, underwater. Yeah. And so, she did. Yeah, old joke, but she just kind of rolled her eyes every time, during a joke.
All part of the game. Yeah, no, but I thought it was important for people here to hear the story because these people, I've known everybody for so many years. They're like family and my friends.
Yeah, you're updating them on what you're doing.
Yes, exactly, and that was big news, especially...
I think this is my 15th year, so... I've been here for like 15 years, so it's a long time.
Yeah. No, it's just, and not much changes here in town, so that's why we always enjoy coming back. Yeah.
Well, it's always good to see you and see you both, and look forward to the rest of this convention. So you're going to go backstage now?
Yes, I'll be hiding backstage and taking it easy.
Taco salad and go backstage.
Okay. Love you guys. Congratulations again.
You guys too. Always enjoy listening to the podcast every time I get a chance.
Thank you. So with the Magic Word Podcast, that was Carol and Steve Chezaday. Scotty out. Well, you hear all the noise here in the background. Then right now we are at the Legion Hall, and the evening show is over, and it was phenomenal. I'm here with someone who actually kicked off yesterday's show. fooled me thinking he was going to be the MC, and then handed it directly over to Mike Caveney. But here he is, B.J. Mallen. Hey, B.J.
Hey there, Scott. It was actually Steve Chezaday that I passed the microphone to, but yes,
right.
yep.
Tonight was Mike, wasn't it?
Tonight it was Mike. Yep.
Well, that was a little bit of what I wanted to talk about was tonight's show. This was a phenomenal show.
It was truly a great show. There was, there was moments I had tears streaming down my face, moments I was laughing till my stomach hurt, and then at the end there, moments when my fiancée Valley could not believe her eyes with what she was seeing, well, quite frankly, I couldn't either. Guy Hollingsworth is something else.
It was a well-scripted, I shouldn't say scripted, it was everything scripted, but a well-honed show from the standpoint that everybody was a little bit different in finishing up with the classic magic of Guy Hollingsworth as only he can,
Yeah, it really was. It was it was a wonderful show tonight. As Mike Miller, he does a great job putting things together, and you get Mike Caveney involved, and he brings along some great friends.
And I thought that was funny also that I wasn't expecting Lance Burton to be coming out then when Matt King had done that little bit.
That was a very touching moment, I thought.
You want to explain what went on there?
Absolutely. So, back the history is in 1977, there was the legendary contest where Lance took first, Jeff Hobson took second, and Mac took third. The thing is, that was on a Thursday morning back when we had the two contests. We had the junior contest and the senior contest, and Lance didn't.
38 people.
Yeah, there was an excessive amount of contestants as well, and Lance was on Thursday thinking he was going to be on Friday, and so Mac was here Thursday morning, saw Lance's name on the list to be performing that morning, and realized there was an issue because Lance was back at the hotel room in Coldwater and desperately was running around trying to find a quarter for the payphone in order to call Lance and let him know, which was probably a mistake since he ended up taking third and Lance got first. But regardless, the quarter came from Peg Weichel, and tonight everything came full circle because both Mac and Lance acknowledged that quarter as being the keystone moment basically in launching their careers, and Lance was able to personally thank her, give her a bouquet, produce a quarter from behind Mac's ear to repay her, and then of course with the way our currency has gone, had to do the full miser's dream and give her the bucket, and it was that was a very, very touching.
That was something. If you stop and think about how there are small moments in people's lives that you have no idea how much impact that's going to have on the future. In that particular case, that could have just altered the course of history in magic.
Well, if you just look at where we're sitting right now, Scott, we wouldn't be here, none of this would be going on around us if someone hadn't taken a young Harry Blackstone to a river or a lake or a stream and showed him how to fish. And that's quite the truth, because he was looking for waterfront property because he enjoyed fishing.
Yeah.
And when Inez found out about the peninsula of land for sale here, that's what brought him to Colon.
Well, he knew Riesel Wardner, though, did he? Or
no, Riesel was actually, he came to Colon because of Percy, but that's the Blackstones came to Colon in 1926. They purchased property here. Riesel didn't come to Colon until 1934, March of 34, after after Percy rather had already opened up Abbott's. But yeah, Harry Blackstone Sr. Purchased waterfront property in Colon, Michigan, because he liked to fish. So if someone hadn't taken him to the water,
funny.
Yeah, it's just one of those moments where I'm sure they thought they were probably killing some time in a morning or an afternoon, just gonna go, do a little fishing. But if you look at the seed that actually was planted in that moment and what all was bloomed from it, and Mac was just desperately trying to get a quarter to help his friend. But look what came from that as well. And the fact of the matter is, our entire lives are like that, Scott. We're planting these metaphysical seeds from which fruits are going to bloom that we might not see, but
in our lifetime.
Yeah, but there will be many who enjoy them. So you can't take it for granted. We spend too much time in our heads and not present in these magical moments. So
that's true.
Yeah, you got to think about Colon and get out of your head.
That's funny. I think it's important, again, if you by spreading those metaphysical seeds, that is, just being nice to everybody and sharing, which is what this convention is a lot about. Kids of all ages that I see, older people teaching younger people, and I was just talking with Dick Stoner a few moments ago, and he was saying about how he'd had 6 different individuals who had come up and said, you changed my life. I'm a full-time pro because of the things that you taught me, or I went to your magic shop or whatever, you know. So.
Yeah, it really is. You never know. And that's like when I was working behind the counter at Abbott's, you know, every kid that comes through, you got to... It doesn't matter what your day is like, because here's someone who could be the next who knows who.
Yeah.
And so it's truly an amazing art that we're involved in, the way it gets passed on, and it's something that you can't take for granted. And I think here in Colon, we definitely don't.
That's true. And when you were working at Abbott's, was Tom Mullica or Tim Wright working there at the time, or how far back?
So, no, that I came a little after them. Jim Underwood or Jim Schofield, depending on how you knew him, he was there when I first started. So was Gordon Miller, and of course Greg. But those were the guys when I first started. This would have been about 1994.
Well, Gordon Miller was the guy who normally was the opening night MC for this, right?
Yeah, Gordon Miller, forever and a day, was the Wednesday night kickoff, and he wouldn't necessarily MC the show, but he would do the traditional kickoff.
Kind of like you did.
Yeah, kind of just like the banner drop.
Yeah.
And then, as is the case with many of the hats that have been put on my head in these last few years, health and other reasons has caused people... No one wants to stop.
Yeah.
But sometimes nature makes you. And... it's an honor to put on some of these hats, but a lot of the times it's also a bit of it's a bittersweet thing. And I was able to have Gordon up there on the stage the first year that I did the banner drop, which was a lovely moment for me. And then he was there in the crowd the next year, and I got him to wave his cane, and we dropped the banner that way. And I miss the guy. He's still around. He's just not doing great. So.
That's what I was wondering. I thought he was still alive, but he's just not good health.
He's correct. He's not the Gordon he was.
Okay. Now, you talk about the banner drop. That is something that's been traditional, at least as long as I've known. When did that start?
Those banners were Percy Abbott's, if I'm not mistaken. They've been patched up and taped up and sewn and redone, but that's part of the old spectacular finale, you know, that you could get from Abbott's. We don't set up the pagodas. We got a big enough mess with the banners and all the confetti cannons Chezaday brings. So, but yeah, that's the banners. I'm pretty sure those are still the same ones that have been around for probably close to 80 years.
First few times that I saw that, I couldn't get my camera out fast. Of course, early days I didn't have a phone camera or whatever. And in later years, then using my phone, I still didn't think about it until it was too late. But this year, I was ready. So this way, it's like I knew when it was good, when you were going to say something. It's like, okay, because it's like boom, and then they close the curtains. I mean, you don't even get 20 seconds.
No, you don't get much time, and the reason being, it's a hell of a mess, and we got to clean that stuff
before
up
before
that first act. Yeah, and you never know with that first night, opening night jitters, how well the MC BJ is going to be able to talk out there. So the quicker they can get it cleaned up, the better.
Yeah. Well, that was a lot of fun. It was a great show tonight then as well. It was a good show last night. We have 2 more nights of shows. Tomorrow's I think we talked about earlier, Japanese act.
The Far East night tomorrow night, 7 different performers on. Should be a great show. And then Saturday night is the South American show. And so, yeah, it's going to be a couple of more great nights. And it's amazing. You know, we wait all year for it, and then it's over before it begins.
That's true. You know, I mean, we're kind of in the middle of this right now, but I can't believe where the first few days have gone, because I'm glad that I came in a little bit early to kind of enjoy all the pre-activities, including the golf and everything else that's been going on, you know. So that's what I think is amazing, and the things that are not necessarily Abbott's scheduled things, but they're on the schedule, even though that they're not part of the convention, if you will.
Yeah, it's, you know, over the years, it's kind of like, it's like the Woodstock of magic, you know. Once the fences have come down, you can't fight it anymore. You've just got to embrace it and run with it. So,
speaking of which, I was surprised that I have not yet seen any of the vendors out of the trunks of their cars or tents or things set up this year as I have in the past.
There's a couple down there on Dallas Street, the traditional Bandits Alley, but no, not as many as there once was. Yeah. But yeah, there's still a few out there with some tents and some tables. So
okay. I haven't been by there yet because I was driving around. I thought, hey, where are these guys? So, okay. Yeah, years ago it used to be literally out of their trunk. I bought a Temple of Benares out of the back of somebody's trunk.
Yeah, it's you know, there's not as many illicit deals going down as there used to be, but But yeah, you can still find a good deal on a used dissecto out of the back of somebody's car if you know where to look.
Sure. Does the Magnet Man still drive around? Remember him?
Oh yeah, I haven't seen him in years, but yeah, there was that guy had. I think we actually got. He may not be around anymore. I think Greg might have gotten his estate, because I remember maybe 10 years ago or so, several tackle boxes full of very strong magnets hanging out in the back of Abbott. So
yeah, I just remember I'd drive around the car with those soda cups that were attached to his roof.
Oh yeah, yep.
He'd take them off and sell you the magnet.
Yep.
I did that gag a few times on my car, and it's so funny. The people that stop you or honk their horns at you.
Sure, yeah. And you just wave back at them gullibly, like, yeah, I have no idea why you're waving at me. And they're honking and pointing.
Well, BJ, good talking to you. It's been a great convention so far. I'm looking forward to the next couple of days.
It's been a pleasure, Scott. I'm always happy to be able to talk to you.
Thank you. You're my buddy. Appreciate it. So from the Magic Word Podcast, that's BJ Mallen. Scotty out. One of the other people that I've run into over here at the Legion Hall is one of my longtime friends, and yours too, Matt Stanley. Hey there, Matt.
Hey, how's it going, Scott?
Fantastic. So I was just talking with BJ Mallen, but we never really talked specifically about this evening's show. I want to talk with you just a little bit about your thoughts on that. It started out, we had Mike Caveney, who was the MC, and he went directly right into his own act.
Right, yeah, absolutely. Just started out with a bang. I don't know if he's been doing he did kind of like a Pavel's Walking Knot with a coat hanger bit. I hadn't seen him do that before.
I have not. I think it's a new bit.
I do too. So I think he worked in a new bit that was cool. Did the classic coffee.
And for the first time.
Yeah, that's the first time I've ever seen him drop it, the coffee, and make a mess.
Dave Blackstone was sitting next to me, and she was saying, have you ever seen him do that before?
Yeah, I've probably seen him do it 20 times live and never seen him drop it. So for it to, I mean, it's probably happened before, but this was the first for me.
And for in this particular group, I think this is a forgiving family that people go, oh, I understand. And they just laugh it off. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah, and then Pat Hazel. Yep. Fun to watch Pat work. I'd seen him a couple times before. Real good.
Doing mostly comedy, and then the coins over the head with some lady.
Yeah, kind of slidini. Paper balls. Very cool. Matt King, always a pleasure to watch Mac work.
I like his line. It's like, I don't know what I'm going to show you. I've been here for the last 4 years. You've seen everything every year. You know?
Everything. And then Guy Hollingsworth finally made it. That was cool.
Yeah.
What is it? 3 years. And I obviously knew him as a close-up performer. I've seen him on stage one time before. I believe it maybe a Magic Live or something. Does that sound right? Yeah. But other than that, to see him work kind of like us. Honestly, I think it was maybe even defined as parlor. Like that would have been a great parlor.
He did that, I think, as part of a parlor act at the Magic Live one time. It was him and two other people. I want to say Topaz, I think, was one.
Okay.
And Guy Hollingworth, and I'd forgotten who the other one was at Magic Live, but it was a parlor show,
Okay. Yeah,
with that very act.
Okay. Yeah, it was cool to see him.
But it looked great from the stage.
Oh, absolutely.
And his demeanor, of course, was amazing.
Yeah. So, very cool that...
Now, there have been a lot of other activities that have been going on around Colon. What did you do today?
I saw Trino do a street show.
Tell me about that. I didn't see it.
Yeah, very good. He had a pretty good crowd, just working out on the main drag here in front of the American Legion.
Oh, okay.
It was actually Granny's, so next door. And yeah, he had a big crowd and did a great job. Did maybe 35, 40 minutes.
Was that right?
Oh, yeah. So pretty good show. Aldi only did his graveyard tour today, so that was cool.
Only had one lady pass out from heat exhaustion.
Yeah, only one.
Yeah.
Only one.
I saw this lady go down. It's like,
oh, geez.
Yeah. They would say, well, we're calling the ambulance, but she finally set up and they gave her some water and she got better.
It was warm here today.
Yeah.
It was and humid as the day went on, for sure. And you were drinking martinis, so you...
I was fine. Yeah, we had magic and martinis over at the at Curly's at 5 o'clock. So for about an hour, we had a great thing. Oh, we forgot about Meadow Perry.
Oh, Meadow!
How
can we forget Meadow? Meadow was fantastic.
Yeah.
I met her at the IBM convention a couple weeks ago, and this is the first I'd seen video of her. This is the first time I'd seen her live perform, and it was very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
But she was also at the SAM last week, and now she's here.
Right.
And I don't think she's going to Vegas to Magic Live. I don't believe it because, anyhow, yeah, she's been busy here of late.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Amazing act. There was someone sitting next to me said, I've never seen magic like this. This is amazing.
Yeah, different. At a magic convention, it's like, not that she's a juggler, but it kind of fills that role of, the act that is the very standalone, because it's not a magic act. It's kind of magical, though.
It's funny you mention that, because while I was in New Orleans, for those who are listening right now, I'll give you a sneak preview. I've got an episode with her coming up, and that was one of the very things I said at the beginning of our conversation was, you're really kind of the juggler for magic conventions because it's so different. She said, "Well, yeah, I could be a juggling convention, and I'm the odd one out."
That is funny. Yeah, she could. Yeah, she would be she's the variety act at whatever.
That's right.
Kind of thing. It's because really no one is doing that kind of thing.
How long have you been coming to Abbott?
My first year was 2003. I performed on the Wednesday night show, opened the show, and with the exception of a couple years, I haven't missed a year. So I've maybe come to 18 years out of the last 20.
Ever since you were like 5 years old?
I was 5.5 actually. No, I would have been about 17.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, you competed. Did you win a contest here or no?
Not here. No, when I won the IBM and I won the World Magic Seminar Lance Burton Award the same year, 2003, and Hank Morehouse booked me as the opening act back when I was doing the Pirate Act with birds and doves and a cockatoo and a macaw, and it was crazy.
You don't use birds on your cruise ships now, do you?
I don't. You can't travel with them like
no,
you
not
know,
like
could.
you. Yeah.
No.
That'd be difficult, I would think.
Absolutely.
Well, Matt, I'm glad to see you. I'm glad that you had an enjoyable time, and thanks for helping to recap the show.
Absolutely. Thanks, Scott.
You bet. So the Magic Word Podcast. That was Matt Stanley. Scotty out.